Hi everyone! Thanks for watching my yogurt number 2 video. The first book I want to feature is Small Spaces by Katherine Arden. On her way home from school, 11-year-old Ollie sees a woman attempting to throw a book into the river. She saves the book from its demise and becomes enthralled by the story of a girl named Beth, the two brothers who loved her, and a strange deal made with the sinister, smiling man. The next day, on a class trip to the local farm, Ollie stumbles upon the graves of the very people from her book, which causes her to wonder if it might not be fiction after all. On the way home, their school bus breaks down. After her teacher leaves for help, the strange-looking bus driver warns the students to get moving, because at nightfall they'll come for you. Ollie's broken watch suddenly displays a message: "Run!" She and two other classmates flee the bus and begin a strange, terrifying journey through the woods. This book was nominated for a Goodreads Choice Award in 2018. It also received starred reviews from Booklist and Kirkus. This is a deliciously creepy story that isn't too scary for middle grades and middle school readers. I am a complete wimp about scary things, and I loved this book. It reminds me of the Goosebumps series, but with a more satisfying and developed plot. The next book I want to share is Wild and Crooked by Leah Thomas. The book doesn't come out until June, but I was lucky enough to receive an ARC of the book. In this book, Kaylin Spence is forced to move back to Samsboro, Kentucky, where her father is famous for committing a brutal murder as a teenager. On the first day of school, she meets Gus Peak, a local kid whose dad was murdered. Between this history and dealing with cerebral palsy, Gus isn't super popular at school. The two become close friends until their family histories are revealed. At the same time, further investigation puts Kaylin's father's conviction into question. Suddenly, the town is in an uproar and Gus and Kaylin are caught in the middle of it. They have to determine if they can break free from their family's past and stand on their own 2 feet. Since this book isn't released until June, I was not able to find any professional reviews of this title. I really enjoyed this story, which tackles serious family issues while still having some funny and light moments. The book has great representation. Gus's struggles with cerebral palsy are well described. One of the main characters is pansexual, and the other is a lesbian. The best part, in my mind, is that there is no romance between the two main characters. It is rare to find an LGBTQ friendship story, and this is a great one. Mirage is a science fiction book set in a fictional star system. Amani lives on the moon of the planet Andala. Her star system has been brutally conquered by the Vathic Empire, which has made things very difficult for the common people. On the night of her coming-of-age celebration, she is kidnapped by droids from the Vathic regime and taken to the royal palace. When she arrives, she discovers that she is nearly identical in appearance to the half-Vathic princess Marum. The princess is so reviled by the conquered people of Andala that she needs a body double to appear for her in public for her own safety. As Amani is trained for this new role, she begins to appreciate the beauty of the palace and her time spent with Marum's fiancé, Idris. But she is keenly aware that if she makes one false move, she will never see her family again, and she will be killed. Though the book has not received any rewards at this time, it did receive a starred review from Booklist. This is a gorgeous science fiction fantasy story that fans of the Lunar Chronicles will love. The author weaves events from Moroccan history into this narrative and examines the issue of colonization without letting the plot get dragged down too much. I also love that the ending clearly sets us up for a sequel, but also stands on its own 2 feet as a solid ending. On the Come Up is Angie Thomas's follow-up to her first novel, The Hate You Give. Set in the same Garden Heights neighborhood as her first book, this story centers on Bree, a 16-year-old who dreams of being a famous rapper. Her father was an underground rapper who was killed before making it big. Her mother is a recovered drug addict who has been able to make ends meet until she unexpectedly loses her job. Suddenly there's no electricity or food in the house, and Bree is even more desperate to get her big break to help out her family. After her first recorded song goes viral for all the wrong reasons, Bree has to decide if she's going to pretend to be someone she's not to make it big, or find her own path forward. I fully expect this book to be nominated for several reviews later this year, but for now the book has received starred reviews from 5 well-known review publications. This book is amazing, and I loved it just as much, if not more, than The Hate U Give. Bree is a fierce, flawed, and complicated main character, whose story shows the reality of being part of a working-class Black family. She is angry about her situation, and the injustice she sees at her mostly middle-class arts high school. And she doesn't always channel that in positive ways. As the story goes on, though, she begins to listen to and trust the people in her community and find her own voice, rather than acting hood or ratchet to woo a record label. Somewhere Only We Know is Maureen Goo's 4th book and comes out later this year in May. I was really excited to receive an arc of this since I am a huge fan of Goo's other books. This story follows K-pop star Lucky, who has just finished the final concert of her tour in Hong Kong. She just wants to escape her regimented and scheduled life for a few minutes, so she sneaks out of her hotel room in search of a hamburger. At the same time, Jack is sneaking into the hotel on a tabloid assignment and catches a glimpse of a familiar-looking girl in slippers who is determined to find a hamburger. She looks cute and also a little vulnerable, since she's acting very drunk. Their paths collide, and nothing will ever be the same. Since this book isn't released until June, I was not able to find any professional reviews of this title. This one did not captivate me like Goo's other books. The romance in the story is sweet, but the characters do not feel well developed, and I didn't connect to them emotionally. This book also doesn't have the same sense of humor as her previous work. Though it wasn't a hit for me, I am still glad to have another romance book I can easily give to middle schoolers, since the romance in the story never goes beyond kissing. The last book I want to share is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This book is the sequel to The Gentleman's Guide of Vice and Virtue, which was one of my favorite reads last year. This story follows Felicity, a young woman who is determined to enroll in medical school, an almost impossible feat in the UK in the 1700s. But then she learns that her childhood best friend is marrying a doctor she idolizes in Germany. She wants to travel to the wedding, with the hopes of convincing the doctor to take her on as a student. And luckily, a mysterious young woman offers to pay Felicity's way, as long as she can come along, posing as Felicity's maid. Felicity is suspicious, but goes along with it. What follows is a perilous adventure that takes Felicity from Stuttgart to Zurich to secrets lurking beneath the Atlantic. It isn't necessary to read the first book in the series to follow this story's events, but several characters, including Felicity's brother Monty and his partner Percy, are part of this story, so your reading experience will be richer if you read both books. The book was nominated for a Goodreads Choice Award in 2018. It also received starred reviews from 3 review publications. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm so glad that we get to follow Felicity's story in this sequel. She is a fierce, determined, and fiery main character, and this story is a grand adventure full of hijinks and hilarity. The story also implies that Felicity may be asexual, though she does share some semi-romantic moments with another female character. I highly recommend this book to fans of historical fiction and adventure. Thanks so much for watching my yogurt video. I look forward to checking out everyone else's recommendations.